we said the second X-Men 97 started popping off. It's like, oh, we have to prepare now. Twitter's going to be full of fan casts, people who think they know how to cast film roles.
And people
Hi,
like
it's us. We're the problem.
we know the MCU is getting the X-Men, obviously with Deadpool and Wolverine. I think it started the ball now.
Yes.
Especially like you say after X-Men 97, of people being like, what's this new X-Men lineup gonna look like?
So I'm just opening a web browser page. So if you say any names I don't recognise
I
or know instantly,
also have to do the same.
I can Google the people so I can get a vibe.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna have to redo some of my pick names because I'm terrible at name to face.
So yeah. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go through Professor X and Magneto.
I
think we've both got 2 pairs.
I haven't really paired them, and
Okay.
I have like 3 of each. But I mean, one of the Professor X ones is just not realistic.
Still a little troll.
So sort of a troll, but sort of not a troll. Sort of more of a hope. But
so yeah, I've paired mine up because this
it
makes me sound
makes
like a pretentious fuck. But when I'm like trying to do like these fan casts, I try and imagine how they would look on screen together. Does it feel like they would work together? And that's how I ended up on these partnerships. I don't think any of my partnerships or any of my castings full stop are realistic. I don't think they'd happen for a whole bunch of reasons, but I do think these people with the right script would cook. So, my first partnership. Actually, do you want to go first? Because you've got 3.
I can do. So, well, I'll give you one of each for now. I'm trying to pick a good pairing to kind of maybe.
Can you see these 2 playing chess against each other?
That's difficult. Maybe, yes, but I'm trying to pick like which one would more likely play chess with you. You know what? Screw it. We'll just go with the first ones I have on each. The pairings may or may not work. Maybe there's better pairings out of the ones I've got, but we won't worry about that.
I will repair up your casting.
That's fine with me. So for Professor X, Mark Strong.
Okay.
You'll know him from Kingsman.
Yes, I'm familiar with Mark Strong.
Yeah, for those that may not know, but I think potentially could make a very good Professor X. And then for a Magneto, who do I think will best fit with Mark Strong? We'll go Jason Isaacs, who was
Severus Snape.
Not Severus Snape.
No, not Severus Snape.
Lucius
Malfoy.
Yeah, I can't think of his first name.
That is a phenomenal shout for Magneto. I like that. Before we discuss that pairing too much, would you like to hear my first pairing?
Okay.
So my first pairing is an old Xavier and Magneto.
Okay.
So I was looking at people in their 60s that are going to be for actor standards, are going to be more visibly older in case they want a more established X-Men team. For Xavier, I went for the always great Gary Oldman.
Okay, yeah.
And to be his complementary Magneto, I wanted someone imposing, someone strong, maybe someone called Mark. My Magneto for Gary Oldman is Mark Strong.
Interesting. Do you know though, that's wild that he could fit both.
Honest to God, I was looking at 60-year-olds. It's crazy.
You do a podcast with one.
Yeah. And I was looking at Mark Strong, I was like, yeah, he's bald. But he just,
I think that's what sold me.
The way his face is structured, I could see the helmet sat on there, and because he's quite a physically imposing guy. I kind of looked at it, I was like, I could believe this guy was both 60 and still capable of destroying the world. I do think he'd also be a very good Professor X. If you wanted to go through a bit more of an imposing Professor X. Whereas Gary Oldman, I was just kind of like, Gary Oldman will shave his head if he needs to. And Gary Oldman acts like rent is due no matter what. So I was like, he will cook. Jason Isaacs for Magneto is stunning. Because I'm looking at some more recent pictures of him, and he looks a little bit like a young Ian McKellen. Like a little bit.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Which is, I think, quite funny. But he's also a phenomenal actor. We know he plays villainous very well. Granted, in a very different style of film, but he plays villainous really well. We know he suits light-coloured hair.
Yeah.
I really like that Jason Isaacs casting. Big props there.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go with my other Magneto pick, who I've put in brackets older, so sort of, but I don't know if I really have a pairing to go with him. But Viggo Mortensen.
I know who you mean.
As a older Magneto, potentially. And then
I've not seen him since Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So, like, my eyes are just adjusting to how much older he looks. He's aged phenomenally well.
That's the thing.
He's still significantly older.
I saw the pic. I was like, wait, that's... God, he looks so different now when I first saw it. But yeah.
That main picture on his Wikipedia from 2020, which is 4 years ago, with that collar as well, is giving Magneto. I quite like that casting.
And then for another Professor X option, Ralph Fiennes. Recently in The Menu, if you know.
It's Voldemort.
Yeah. My brain.
Christ.
Do you know what?
In the Menu, he's Voldemort.
Do you know why? I know him as Voldemort, but it's like the prosthetics makes me not immediately think, and I've obviously saw him in The Menu, or saw things of The Menu recently, and that was what stuck in my mind. Yeah, Voldemort. I think could make an interesting Professor X, maybe.
He's had short hair, like shaved short hair, frequently enough that I can kind of see the vision. Also, his hairline is going to shit.
Yeah, so maybe it'll help him.
Yeah. He's quite old, but looks quite young still. That's almost a problem. He's 61. He's actually older than Isaacs.
Maybe he will be a good pairing then with Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, no, I think that's another solid pairing. I could see that quite well. It's funny though, because you've casted someone who historically only plays villains as Professor X. And Viggo Mortensen is like one of the most famous heroes in film history.
I flipped them.
Yeah, I quite like it. Okay,
go on,
so my
what's your
pairing is a young-ish Xavier and Magneto. Obviously, they still need to be old enough where Xavier having a team of superheroes under his beck and call makes a bit of sense.
Yeah.
And I've got someone a similar age range. So, first up in Xavier is someone that has proven for a number of years they can play intelligent very, very well.
Okay.
We've gone for Matthew Gray Gubler, who people who know will instantly know was in Criminal Minds as child prodigy Spencer Reed.
I instantly recognize who he is when I've
that man is 40 years old, by the way. Look how young he still looks. He's 44. That is what happens when you're unproblematic.
I could see it.
The only problem is he does famously have quite medium to longish length hair, and I feel like I'd be murdered by a lot of angry women if I was the person responsible for getting him to shave his head.
Well, you never know. Maybe he looks great with a bald head.
I think he would exude Xavier. And
I can see it.
And then on the flip side,
Mm-hmm.
someone else who has famously played someone very intelligent.
Okay.
Zachary Quinto, who, of course, played Spock in the more recent Star Trek.
Yes.
I just look at him and I just can see it.
Yeah.
He's got a
Yeah.
little bit of that natural charm about him that I think Magneto needs
Yeah,
to have.
true.
Also looks incredible for 46 years old.
He does.
That Hollywood money does not play around.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I can see that as like a
my
younger pairing.
pairing. Yeah.
I had one little troll, little hopeful,
Okay.
little still not giving in cast.
You don't want to pretend it can't happen, so you want to put it
Yes.
out there. Okay.
It's for Professor X.
Okay.
It's Giancarlo Esposito. We know he's been cast in the MCU. Apparently not in a role we've all cast him in, but I still believe.
Yeah.
I believe that is a lie. And then he is Professor X.
That's fair. I think he would do a phenomenal job of any character like that. Any character where you think of them and you think they're quite mild-mannered most of the time, and then when they explode, they really explode. I think any character like that, he could do a phenomenal job of. So yeah, I mean, I'm just happy if he has actually got a role in the MCU because he's gonna cook.
Oh yeah, he really is.
So that's my Xavier and Magneto pairings.
Yep, mine too.
I think casting a youngish Xavier and Magneto is really difficult.
Yeah.
But I kind of played. I was kind of thinking about. I was like, you know what? If you look at James McAvoy and your man who played Magneto in First Class,
yeah.
you look at them and you don't go, you know what? I can see them as old men. And like, no one looked at James McAvoy and thought he'd be okay bald.
True.
Like, a lot of people were genuinely worried about that. But it worked. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for people I think can do the role and not worry too much about how much of a fit they are.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with them choices. I really, and I'd love to see, like, we've both agreed there, Mark Strong would be phenomenal in whatever role you give him. I just think he's not necessarily above. I think it's a weird thing where he's too good of an actor for a small role in the MCU, but he's not big enough profile to get a big role, which just kind of leaves him stuck in no man's land, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's what we said, I think, when we were talking about X-Men 97 is like, we obviously kind of want the X-Men. We feel that it maybe should be a slightly less known actor, like not a big shot actor. But at the same time, for Professor X and Magneto, you kind of expect it to be because it's the role that it is.
Yeah, I think the perfect way to do it is for Xavier and Magneto, you go superstars. And then you make the actual X-Men team unknowns.
Or slightly less knowns. Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can agree with that.